Bitcoin is struggling to bounce from these key levels, and it's an absolutely critical week for the markets. I'm going to show you in today's show exactly why. There's a massive convergence of economic data all lining up with massive tech earnings as well, and Bitcoin could potentially enter into phase D, or transition at least from phase D into phase E of Wyckoff distribution pattern. We covered that last week on the show, but we have a lot more new information at our disposal. So in today's show, I'll show you exactly what you can expect in both the short, the medium, and the long term. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. And let's get started. If you have a look at the banter bubbles, of course, a lot of the coins are starting to sell off. You can see, especially when you look at the altcoins over the higher time frame, now giving up those weekly gains, giving up the monthly gains as well. And we are very quickly starting to transition from what was a very bullish market into now potentially even a bearish market. So you can see, I saw in the comments as well, the waiting room is much lower. I saw you guys pick that up as well, and that's exactly the case, right? The frothy retail people that always tend to come at the top tend to run for the hills as soon as prices start to turn even slightly. But for the rest of you who have been here for a long time, you will be very profitable for being here during these times, because this is the times where you get rewarded, where you pay attention and you establish your longer term position. So we'll go over some of those levels. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. This is why, right? This is one reason the market will be pricing this in, or at least trying to reduce some of the risk because of what's about to come up, right? We have the Fed, which will be reacting for the very first time to rising PCE, PPI, and CPI inflation data, because those have started to tick back up. Inflation is, of course, quite sticky and complicated, right? We also have the Fed Chair Powell, so Jerome Powell's Q&A after the first 2-month increase in inflation since what we had in September, so back-to-back increases. And then over 20% of the S&P 500 will also be reporting on their earnings, including the massive tech giant Apple. And then we have April jobs report on Friday, and then geopolitical tensions continuing. So basically, it says over here, just about every major headwind is all converging into one during this week. Let me know in the comments, what is your prediction? Is it going to be up or down? What exactly is going to take place over here? Because it is massive, right? There's a huge amount of things going on. You can mark off, if you go into the Forex factory and you set it to crypto, you can mark off those high impact economic data events. And on your leverage trades, at least, this is usually where you want to be going flat into these major events. Spot, questionable. You can kind of hold some of those positions open if they're still in an uptrend, but otherwise you really want to be tightening up your stop losses, moving them into profit if you're in profit, or even considering taking your leverage trades completely off the table. So the current target rates, 525 to 550. You can see 97.2% probability that we're going to get exactly the same interest rate once again. And you have also, if you look over here, massive news. The Japanese yen collapsing. That was last night. Massive fall to 34-year low against the US dollar. Very significant. So there must be some sort of intervention around this. Pay attention to that. As today's markets open, there might be some volatility because of that. So if you look at 10 Delta, he says either Powell and Yellen will have to do something now, or Japan will be forced to sell their $1.1 trillion worth of US bonds to basically cover the loss that they've just incurred. And that will inevitably force quantitative easing. So central banks around the world are now in a bind, and this is definitely a big week ahead. Just another thing to add to the massive amount of US economic data which is going to be coming out. So all in all, it's coming to a head. You have someone like Heinrich, he's pretty bearish. He's saying, well, hold my beer over here. There's a massive divergence and rollover with the RSI, and that ultimately is going to lead to a collapse in the yields. And if that happens, that's usually pretty drastic. Following those major collapses is, for example, he's creating at least a comparison to the fractal over here of 2008, which was a massive, obviously, sell-off within the market, one of the biggest that we've ever seen. I'm less inclined to think that this is a possibility, but I do want to show you everybody's viewpoint, all the extreme cases. This is something you're looking at. At the end of the day, all you need to know is that something major is about to take place within the markets. We've been covering level to level, and we said when the stock markets broke below the key range level, we were looking for the stock markets to hold this range. It broke, fell through that zone, created a new swing low, pushed up into now what's underside resistance, and this is really the level to clear. We need to see the S&P 500 hold above 5170, break and hold above that level, and there's an opportunity to reclaim the range. You have QQQ, or the Nasdaq, also coming into that significant zone right here at 431 points. If it fails to get above that, it's going to roll over. You're looking at about a 7% decline. So S&P 500 to next major support is a 6.49% down. QQQ, next major support, 7.14% down. And then the Dow Jones over here from the resistance level, if it can't get above that, that's going to lead to about a 5% downside move. Surprisingly, though, you have Coinbase, which is still holding up pretty well, respecting the range levels. Unlike the stock market, it has yet to lose that range low level, holding it as support. And as a trader, you just trade at level to level, right? So as long as you hold that level, then you can be bullish up until the next major area of resistance, which is going to be 275. So I'll show you why in today's show. Well, there is a potential for a trend shift, but it's always very complicated when you start to go through these transitionary phases within the market, because I can make the case for a potential short squeeze as well on the low time frame. So it's very important that when you listen to the show, you understand how the various different time frames all merge and fit into one another. There is going to be some sort of an overlap, right? So if you start to see a transitionary phase on a high time frame, which is suggesting lower prices, that's not to say that in the very, very short time frame, maybe even today, you could see a little bit of a bounce. I'll give you the fundamental reasons as well why you could see a little bit of a short squeeze. But first, let's have a look as well. US dollar continuing to trend towards the upside over here. It has broken out of a key level. So until this comes down, it's going to be pressure on for risk on assets. And you have big name traders, for example, like Peter Brandt over here, veteran trader. He suggests that BTC may have now topped and predicts a decline to mid $30,000 region. I personally wouldn't be looking that low. One of my worst case scenarios will be about $48,000. And I still think in the higher time frame, this is where it's important you listen to the different time frames. In the higher time frame, that would still be very, very bullish, right? That would be healthy. It would mean that we have the opportunity to have a right translated cycle, which means a longer bull market, as opposed to a left translated cycle where we're going to rally up, top out at $80,000, $100,000, $150,000, wherever it may be. And in the next few months, it's the end of the cycle, right? You can't move up too quickly. Otherwise, the cycle ends in a blow off top fashion. So with that being said, one thing that Peter Brandt looks at and trades his longer term portfolio, and when he trades Bitcoin, I know this is Renko specifically on the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame gives the least amount of signals, and you can see it's recently just turned red. So for him personally, that was probably one of the reasons he is calling for a major top over here and exiting the market. Now you can see it's given very few false signals, right? In terms of false signals, it's given 1, 2, 3. The rest of them were all very, very spot on in terms of timing major cycle tops. If you go into the daily, we also got a warning signal over here showing that you're looking to reduce risk within the market over here. At least take your leverage trades off of the table, and possibly if you're a more aggressive trader, even consider getting out of your spot positions, because that is, at least if you're trading Renko, that is what it's indicating. If you look at Michael Pezzino over here, he gave a great analysis. If you look back at the 3 consecutive red weeks in the prior parts of the cycle, this is exactly what occurred. So he said when a market closes in the red for 3 consecutive weeks, it signals a change in behavior, right? The prior bullish momentum is starting to shift, or it has shifted, and it could take some time to regroup before breaking into new all-time highs. So in other words, you're creating a range, right? You're starting to form a broad range. He says new lows in this correction aren't necessarily a certainty, but it would not be surprising in the least, right? Where would new lows be? Again, my analysis, probably sweep $60,000. Maybe you bounce from about $58,000, $59,000. That's where you have to observe the low timeframes to see, is there a swing failure pattern, swinging below the bottom of the range and then immediately reclaiming, or are you going to go deeper? If you go deeper, 55,000 is a level that you're going to bounce from. And then you need to see, off the $55,000 Bitcoin bounce, will that lead into a lower high, rejecting from 60K, which was prior support? If so, then you look to the next level, which would mean 52. And you keep playing it, right? Level to level, 55, bounce, lose that. Then you go to 52, bounce, lose that, flip the next level into a lower high or resistance, and then 48 would be on the worst side that I'm looking at. So this is what happened in the previous cycles, right? You can see, or this is all within this year, right? This bullish cycle that we've had, when we had 3 weeks in a row, it actually led to a big bounce, but you still went sideways, right? This one over here, 3 weeks downside in a row, led to 1 week bounce, and then you continue to go down, creating new lows. This one over here, 3 weeks, small bounce, and then another 3 weeks down. So let's see, let's observe. If you do get a bounce over here and it leads into lower highs, you may need to consider taking some risk off the table. We've been saying in the Discord for quite some time to the whale room community to take profits, right? Take profits. If you've made a lot of money and you're up significantly, at least consider taking profits, especially if you've made life-changing money. Don't worry for the low time frame traders. I'll cover the very, very short time frame as well in just a moment. This is your Bitcoin weekly chart, and look at the very, very low volume. Volume continues to diminish. Now, this is very, very important. I know I'm saying a lot of things over here can be very, very confusing, so you have to listen carefully. Again, this corrective phase is simply that. It's corrective. We still are within a broader bull market, right? So you're looking to buy the dip. Now, if you can see price holding these key levels of support around that $58,000 to $60,000 level, and volume continues to decline over here, and you have funding which goes completely negative, that becomes a very strong buy signal, right? This will be very, very similar to then what we saw when Bitcoin was trading over here at $25,000. So I'll mark it off on the chart. It will be similar to that $25,000 level, which was over here. There you can see, let's change the color just to make it stand out for you. We'll put it in yellow. So if you look at the yellow zone over here and you look at the volume declined, right? Declining volume. Price couldn't break below that level. Bulls continued to defend that level, and consequently that formed a strong zone of support. It was rejecting off here as resistance, but once it wasn't able to break below this level, you could see the bullish demand coming in. You could see on the order book huge orders being filled. Then consequently you knew that was going to lead to an impulsive move. So I'd be looking for potentially something quite similar to this. If you come into this zone over here and you just can't break it down, that might be an example of what's happening. It's just a longer term correction. So there it is. Let's have a look as well. Let's just see if we can zoom back to that 25K level, and then we can relate that and see what happened. Here's the 25K level. Look at that. The funding rate went negative, bounced up over here. Funding went negative a couple more times. There you go. Look at that. This is your 25K level. You just couldn't break it down. Negative funding, failure to break that level down. You could be seeing something similar to that, right? So keep it very, very simple. Keep it easy. This is what we're looking at. Right now, this is support, right? But if we start to gain acceptance below the previous month's low, which is at $59,000, that is going to lead to the deeper pullback. So this is still support, right? Still support. If you see that, the similarities to the $25,000 Bitcoin happening over here, that would be very, very strong. Failure to break down means you're going to lead to a much bigger move up. But as soon as you gain acceptance below $59,000, then you have to look out below. You're probably going to see something like that as a percentage for Bitcoin. Where could that lead it? Well, down to the first level of support, 17% down, and then down to the 48K level, you're looking at about another 22% down. And of course, that would be very, very significant for the altcoins in terms of drawdown. But it would give a very healthy flush and reset in the fear and greed. This has been a pretty bullish market in the sense that the fear and greed just hasn't come down for months. The last time that we saw these lower levels, which we're targeting between 20 and 30 on the fear and greed. The last time we saw that was in October of last year. So it's been a long time that the market has remained within this phase. And you can imagine a flush down to those levels will incite a lot of fear within the market, and that becomes the buying opportunity. So again, talking to you in terms of the time frames, drawdowns in the short and medium time frame lead to strong high time frame bullish buy zones, right? In the high time frame, it's still bullish, right? In the low time frame, you could be right here within the LPSY SOW phase of the Wyckoff distribution. I think we could be in phase D right now. As soon as we lose the range low, which we covered last week, and that could happen as soon as this week, I would expect it would happen this week. If we do break below and we gain that acceptance below $59,000, then expect you transitioning from phase D into phase E, which is going to be the distribution phase, and then the support levels 55,000, 52,000, and then 48,000. Remember, you're starting to see a transition within the sentiments of the market. Ask yourself this question honestly as you sit there. Is this your mentality? Are you starting to shift and think, well, maybe this is not as bullish as we thought. Maybe I should consider taking some profits. This is what leads to the transition from phase D to phase E. It's the last gasp of demand, the final gasp of demand. Demand comes back in, leads to a small bounce, and final gasp doesn't work out, right? Doesn't work out. And then the sentiment and the psychology starts to shift, and you travel through the trading range support, losing that support level, multiple weak rallies within that phase D. That's exactly what we've seen right now. And then you move into phase E, where everybody accepts this is a little bit different. Phase E depicts the unfolding of that downtrend. You leave the trading range. Supply is now in control. You at home might sit there, say to yourself, I've made a lot of money over the last few months, and, I'm quickly approaching my entry levels, and I think it's time to take a little bit of profit. And that's exactly where supply takes control, and the Wyckoff distribution goes into phase E, transitioning from D to E. E happens too quickly for you to get out. You more looking on the high time frame to buy the bottom of phase E, that distributive phase, right? So the breakdown is often tested with a rally that fails at or near support. This also represents a high probability opportunity to sell short within that phase. And guys, we're seeing it, right? Look at that. You're seeing Renko also flip. So this is where we're at. This was the big warning sign where we rallied up from the range low. This is your trading range, what the Wyckoff distribution phase speaks of. This is the range low. You bounced up to mid-range. You rejected from mid-range. So we are range bound until you lose that level, right? Technically speaking, you're range bound until you lose that level, but you're rejected from a very key moving average, that being the 50-day moving average. It's very significant. Now, this is why I see some of you are saying that I'm scaring you. That's the big fish. The big fish is getting scared. Don't get scared, bro. Because unless you over leverage, you should be okay, because this is still super strong support, right? So this shows you the 50-day moving average will govern the quicker parts of the move, right? The high time frame trend will be governed by the 200-day moving average, which you can see is still rising. As long as it's angled towards the upside, that's a good thing. You can expect there will be a significant bounce from that zone if price gets into there. So if this is phase D and we start to gain acceptance below, you can expect something like this, quickly come down. That's already played out, right? The sell-off has played out. You hit that level, and then you can expect a big bounce, and then we can reevaluate. Is it going to lead into some sort of a W formation, higher highs and higher lows, and that becomes your macro buying opportunity. So all that I'm saying over here is probably if you have additional capital aside, sit and wait, right? Don't buy yet. Wait to see how this plays out. So far, it's looking quite probable that you might see a distribution. Now, if you don't get that breakdown and acceptance below, then the scenario like Bitcoin at $25,000 starts to play out, where you see this and it just refuses to break down. We need more time, right, to prove that to us. Over time, we'll start to see absorption occurring over here. We'll look at the signs within the market. We'll look, into the order book. We'll look at what's happening with the cumulative liquidation delta. We'll look at all of those things under the hood, and I'll let you guys know. Don't worry, there'll be enough time, right? There'll be enough time. So it's not that we're necessarily going to do this and then that's it. It's all over. You would expect that you'd spend a bit of time around these levels. Okay, moving on. there it is. You can see also your 9 and your 18 exponential moving average continuing to govern the downtrend. Price is below the 4-hour and the 1-hour 200 exponential moving average, also below the pivot level. The pivot level continues to decline, right? So right now, nothing has changed based on last week. This is your level to clear. The pink box, we need to see Bitcoin get back in order to shift bullish again. We need to see Bitcoin break back above $67,000 and hold there. We have to be honest, right? We have to be honest. In investing and trading, if you want to succeed, guys, remove the emotional bias. I have no emotional bias. I'm looking at the chart the same way that a driver would drive on the road and read the signs. There are the signs. They're right before us. It's showing you risk is shifting towards the downside. We're transitioning from what was a strong uptrending market into a ranging market into what now potentially could shift into a downtrending market. So please understand very, very clearly on the daily time frame, risk is to the downside until such time as Bitcoin can get back above this zone over here, which is $67,000. If you can get back above that zone, then you potentially shift the risk back to the upside. But really, you need to clear the range highs, right? Otherwise, this is still a range. This is still a range. Okay, we've done that. Let's move on. We want to keep the shows pretty quick for you. You can see the range being governed massively by the liquidity, right? So traders are accepting that this is a range and they're trading it as such, and therefore you can see they're going short on the top, they're going long on the bottom, and that's why you have these massive heat maps of various orders on both the top and the bottom side. So this is why it's support, right? Every time that price comes into this zone over here, then ultimately longs get liquidated and price will bounce. Straight after the liquidation happens, usually it leads to a bit of a bounce. When it pushes into the top side, then the shorts get liquidated and it leads into a bit of a drop once again. Okay, so there's your range. I looked on all the different coins over here. I'm not going to go through the entire list. I'm just going to show you a couple of them because honestly, they all look pretty similar. So the way that Chainlink looks over here in terms of prices capped below the short, the medium, and the long-term moving average, this is virtually what almost every single altcoin looks like. Every single altcoin on the 4-hour time frame looks like it's very, very close to going into full-on distribution, right? You've recently had the crosses between the moving averages. So yes, it's still a choppy environment, but potentially entering into a strong downtrend. I went through every single one of these coins. There was a few that didn't look like that. I'll mention one of them just because I remember. Here's one. Okay. There you go, Mantra OM, real world asset coin over here. You can see is still maintaining the upsloping posture of the moving averages. Prices above the short term, above the medium, and above the long term. And ultimately, that's one of the few that look pretty decent. Okay, cool. Guys, please do me a favor, smash the like button, hit the bell notification, subscribe, but really smash the like button if you can. It really helps to get the show content out there. Now, I don't want to get too bearish on you guys because at the end of the day, it is still ranging. We're just trying to look further ahead and understand what may happen a few weeks from now if certain levels get lost. There is a possibility that you could get new demand coming into the market in the short term as soon as tomorrow, and that could lead to a little bit of a short squeeze, which could bring some bullish hopium back into the market. Understand the market's in a very emotional place right now. When you're in this liminal space, right, you're in the middle of nowhere, you're in no man's land for the market, things can go very bearish very quickly, but they can also go very bullish very quickly. That is what that liminal space is, right? Where you're in the psychological phase of, you know, maximum confusion between both bulls and bears, which creates that range. Now, this is how it could shift this quickly, right? If we broke below $60,000 and held there, it's going to shift bearish very quickly. Everyone will find every fundamental reason to become bearish, but if it starts to recapture $67,000, maybe people start to view the up-only scenarios once again, and it could be fundamentally because of something like this. Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF will be launching tomorrow, and as 𝗕𝗚𝗎𝗓 says over here, he has a little secret from this part of the world. The Asian market, in terms of number of users and the user count, is bigger than both the US and the European markets combined. So if there is major interest coming from Hong Kong, when this launches and they start to buy this ETF, you might see the same sort of hype that we had when, of course, BlackRock, Fidelity, all of the different US ETFs came in and everybody was hyper-focused on what's happening with the ETF flows. Are they positive? Are they negative? Every day was positive. Price pumped. You may see something similar, right? So that's one thing that could shift momentum bullish. The other thing is also now you have ETFs coming to Australia. So this is showing you that there is definitely a market for this. A lot of the world look to the US and they say, well, if the US approved it, why shouldn't we? And ultimately, this might start to create a new trend. So keep an eye out on that. The other thing that I'm looking at is extremely negative funding now in terms of people shorting. You have 384 short liquidations versus 140 long. So basically, there's more pain if price were to spike to the upside for short-term traders who are shorting the market. They might get smashed over there, and then you get a big spike up into the top side of the range. Okay, you still have spot selling off, leverage selling off, open interest, which is fully reset. Okay, before we get into the rest of the show, I want to just go over a couple of altcoins, but that's your very quick overview of what's happening within Bitcoin. There's also been a shift within ETH BTC. It's too soon to say whether that will continue, but we'll look at it in today's show. Guys, if you do want to join, remember when you sign up, use the link in the description below. You are sponsored for Whale School by all the different partners which are listed below. Usually this would be a $3,000 course, but they're paying for you to do this course. All you have to do is sign up. Look, we'll see over here. We meant to start in 2 days, but it looks like there's much more demand for the course than initially thought. So there's a possibility that we may extend so that they can expand in terms of the database of how many people we can host. So take advantage while you can. Sign up using the link in the description below. Whale School is where I teach absolutely everything that I know, right? From A to Z in trading. It's helped me become a very successful trader. All the info that's in there. Okay. ETH BTC, there it is. Big move up over here, spiking above the previous lower high. So that is, technically speaking, a higher high. Let's see if we can continue to defend this bottom region over here at 0.050. I want to see much more before getting very bullish on ETH BTC, right? I want to see much more. I want to see something like this. I want to see at least 3 higher lows, right? So something like that. There you go. That would be 1, 2, 3. I want to see at least 3, and I want to see multiple higher highs. I want to see a proper trend shift for full confidence in a reversal over here from ETH BTC. Really, I want to see 0.0557. This level should be the level to hold. Here in terms of ETH USD, this is going to be the level to clear, which means that 3,554, that's the zone to clear. Otherwise, this is mid-range resistance, right? You need to break above mid-range resistance, hold it like that, and then you can see ETH USD trending towards the upside. Okay, there's our Bitcoin dominance. We have the divergence, which is still taking place over here between price and the RSI. I would like to see triple divergence. Triple divergence meaning we come down one more time, price, or at least the Bitcoin dominance grinds up higher into this region one more time, and then one more rejection while simultaneously hitting that 60% level. If I see something like that, that will be a strong signal for me to rotate out of Bitcoin into altcoins, right? We yet to see that. It's very rare that you'll get beyond triple divergence over here. So we've already had 1, we've had 2. Let's see if we get a third one. I wouldn't expect that you're going to get a fourth. So keep an eye out on that. Very slow moving because that's a weekly time frame. Here you have total 3. Again, the strong area where bulls are in control is the yellow box. We need to see a grind into that region. So far, that level has been lost. Okay, in terms of altcoins, here's a watch list for the week. We can look through some of these coins. We'll look at the daily time frame. Remember, in terms of the 4-hour time frame, most coins look like they're distributing. So we'll look at some of the stronger coins over here. We'll look at Theta, we'll look at Rollbit, we'll look at DYDX and Camino. Let's get into some of those in just a bit. I first want to mention over here as well that GUMMY has now come to Bybit, which is pretty big achievement from 𝗕𝗢𝗎𝗢𝗍. Honestly, big congratulations to anybody that was involved in this. They listed GUMMY spot on Bybit before WIF, which is unbelievable, right? Absolutely unbelievable. Of course, there is a partnership there in terms of a relationship between 𝗕𝗢𝗎𝗢𝗍 and Bybit, but they don't do favors for us in that regard, right? So pretty big achievement. If you want to trade spot GUMMY, it is listed on Bybit. And there is actually a bit of an incentive here. Let me just quickly read it. So remember, we had the airdrop. We have 2 more airdrops to come. Let me just get the facts straight. I'm just reading the notes over here. So for any new user that's signing up to Bybit with the link below, and you deposit $100 or more, you will get a percentage of the next airdrop, which is going to be 10 million GUMMY tokens, right? 10 million GUMMY tokens. For existing users, if you already have a Bybit account and you trade GUMMY on Bybit using one of the 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗍 exchange links, then and you sign up to school, or if you've already signed up to school, then you'll get a percentage of 2 million GUMMY airdrops. So obviously the high incentive is if you open up a new exchange, but if you already have one, you'll get part of the 2 million tokens. Okay, let's see one more note over here. Okay, then look out on the other last thing. There's another 2 million that's reserved. Look out on the GUMMY Twitter, right? So are they tagged in here? No, they're not. So you can go through to GUMMY on Sol. There we go. Look out on the social media. There'll be some sort of post that's coming out later today. If you interact with that post, they'll tell you what to do over there. You'll get access to the other 2 million. Okay, cool. That being said, let's have a look at some of these coins, right? So I marked out a bunch of things. You can see over here, it is lower lows, lower highs on ETH. If you look at Chainlink, let's just see, is that loading? Give it a second, guys. Let me just, oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, Chainlink has hit an area of support over here, but ultimately this was the long trade that we initially took. In hindsight, it was great taking profit over here. People definitely gave me a little bit of FOMO that I took profit initially off this trade, thinking that prices are going to rip higher, but you can see over there, look at the big deviation back into the range. This is a key level. I'll give it a bit of time. I think you'll spend some time over here. If you are looking to reestablish longs on Chainlink, I think you'll probably come one more time into this 12 level. We want to see that zone hold. Probably, to be honest, you're going to spend a lot of time over here. It's not going to simply be something like this where you just see Chainlink run like that. Okay, Cardano. Okay, here's Cardano. Obviously, breaking the upsloping trend line, also coming into an area of support, but you're really spending a lot of time over there. You're now opening up the possibility of 33 cents. Okay, Solana. Okay, Solana, I don't want to see it spend too much time over here because this is a lot of pent up liquidity, right? People that were long, obviously, they just raise their stops, raise their stops, raise their stops, raise their stops the whole way through, which means you could create a massive liquidation cascade. I am currently still long on Solana. I've re-entered into the long over the course of the weekend. I'm giving that the benefit of the doubt for one more opportunity. And this was, let's just double check if anything's changed over here. One reason why is this. Let's just see. I haven't viewed it again since the weekend. All right, let's let that load up. There we go. Okay, there you go. Still very, very negative. So I'm playing this as an inverse trade, looking for one more spike towards the upside, and I want to see what happens based off of that spike. So if we can't get acceptance back above about 140 very, very soon, then of course I'm going to look for lower. But for now, I'm going to give it just a little bit more time for the possibility that you might see a W formation, right? You can see the W formation in terms of the neckline lines up over here with your mid-range. So if you can break above that, that could lead to a pretty substantial move. So I'm still long on that Solana position, but it's on spot long, right? Not holding any leverage trades open at the moment, only spot trades for the time being. Okay, Ethereum breaking down below very key level, which is 250. Look out below. It's possible you're going to come down to about 150 over there. Aptos. Okay, everyone was mega bullish on Aptos quite some time ago. At the time, I cleared up the chart this morning, but we outlined this area over here, which is the prior highs, saying if you can't get acceptance above that $19 region, then you're possibly coming back down to the range low, which is what's happened. Actually worse so, because you're now gaining acceptance below $10, which opens up the possibility of moving all the way down to 530. So you'll see a trend over here that a lot of the altcoins look like there still could be a lot more downside in play. And if there is a lot more downside in play, then now's probably not the time to release your clip of capital, your USDT or your stable coins. I'm currently still holding a big cash position, which in the event of about another 20 to 30% downside for altcoins, that's where I'll deploy. You can look over here in terms of Atom, that's about a 22% move, right? Coming into the next support at 640. If you look at AVAX, also, AVAX rejected, wasn't able to get to the top resistance level. We said 53 was a critical level for it to hold. If it holds 53, you can trade it up to 70. Failure to do that means you need to trade it back down to 31. That's what happened. If you start to lose 31 now, I wouldn't look all the way down to $7, but probably to the mid-range over here, which is going to be about $19. Okay, Cake coming into support right now. This is a significant level. Let's see if it can hold it. Dot. Okay, Polkadot, range bound, so deviated the top side of the range. You are holding right now around mid-range, but if you lose that, it is possible you're going to round trip all the way back down to 440. Remember, that's also old technology, right? That's one of the things, guys, with the old tech. It's better to trade things that are in price discovery. It's a very psychologically difficult thing. I understand because I've been there. It's difficult to trade something that's at all-time highs because you think, I mean, this thing's run so much. I really don't want to take a long on something that's pumped so much. I want to trade the coin that's down 99%. That is the wrong way to do it. Every single professional trader out there, every single textbook, every single course that's good will tell you long strength, right? Long strength and short weakness. You don't want a long weak coins, right? Things that are like XRP. I don't even have it on the list over here. You don't want to long things like that. No disrespect to anybody. I understand. You might be emotionally caught up if you heavily down in those positions. But the sooner you're able to shift your mindset and understand that you want a long strength, you're going to make a lot more money. Okay, so Injective also rejecting from the mid range over here. Probably going to come back down into this 1890. Casper. Also losing the mid-range over here, possibility you're going to come all the way down to 9 cents now, which lines up with your upsloping trend line. MATIC. Let's go to MATIC. So these are all the majors, right? All the big coins, all the large cap coins, level to level. Here it is, rejecting off the mid-range. Watch for MATIC coming down into 52 cents. Near. Okay, lower lows, lower highs. You made a new swing low. Probably going to come back down into $5 at least one more time. Say. A little bit harder to trade this one because it is a new token. I would say if you can hold this above 58 cents over here, which was a clear range level, then it's possible that you're going to move up. But honestly, when the rest of the market looks the way it does, is this the coin out long? No, I wouldn't. I would wait. I'd wait it out. Okay, Sui also rejecting off the top side of the range, probably coming down into $1 zone at least one more time. Ton, very hyped coin, right? Very, very hyped. Would I be buying Ton here? No ways. Absolutely not. There's a possibility that typical to what usually happens within these coins, the hype of the conference and the big announcements could have been a major local top for Ton. So pay attention to that area. You've been in an upsloping parallel channel. This is a clear range high area. You've deviated that. Watch for the complacency bounce, right? If you do get a bounce and it leads into a lower high, expect that you're probably going to do something like this. I would be picking up Ton around $3 for the longer term. Okay, Zeta. Let's go to Zeta. There it is. Also looking terrible. Losing some key levels. Also not that much price history, but losing key levels. Breaking below what was the prior range low at $1.20. Okay, let's go to Rune. Okay, Rune. Let's just see my exact chart that I have. This one over here. Okay, so there's Rune. I would be interested in picking up Rune over here. Still waiting for a sweep below $3.80. So something like this. There you go, $3.80. Observe on the lower time frame. How is it defending this level? Is it holding it as support? If so, you can find one of those little scam wicks to the downside. Stop loss would go below it. And then you can enter into the Rune position. TP1, TP2, if it breaks and holds above, you can leave the rest to run. Okay, let's pretend ARB is dead then. That's what Brian says. Let's go to Arbitrum and Optimism. Let's go to those layer 2s. I also had a look at some of those. And I think we should also look at the meme coins, right? I haven't looked at the larger meme coins, the Pepes, the WIFs for quite some time. So we'll get to that in a moment. Here we have it, Arbitrum. Okay, so here's your, let's switch the tool over here. Here's your picture for Arbitrum, still range bound, right? Expecting a deeper sweep again into 73 cents. METIS, also losing the range high, kind of holding at mid-range right now, but if you can't hold up mid-range, if momentum fails, if the rest of the market goes down, then $16 to $20 is probably your next zone of interest for METIS. Optimism. Okay, also losing the range highs, deviating below that level. Watch for any spikes up that come into this, rejecting at $3. That's an opportunity to get out. If you can, though, get above 330 and hold there, then ultimately that might have been a little bit of a shakeout. You reclaim this level, it becomes bullish again, but anything that's above 330 is bearish. Stacks. Okay, Stacks, which is a beta play to Bitcoin, it ultimately trades more aggressively to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes down, it goes down a lot more. If Bitcoin goes up, it goes up a lot more. It's like trading Bitcoin on leverage. Let's see, level to level. Let's just mark off. This is going to be, of course, your obvious area of major support, but you do have minor support over here. Maybe you're going to get one more bounce off this. Pay attention to this zone. You don't want to spend a lot of time here. Anytime that this comes down, and it holds here and consolidates around here, it's probably going to then lead to a breakdown. Okay, but if you see one more wick into here, immediate reaction, then it has an opportunity of going up. Okay, so one of the only strong coins that I've seen so far is Mantra, OM. OM still holding up. Very strong uptrend, continuing to consolidate. High highs, high lows. Yes, could this be lagging and go down eventually? Of course, but for now, it is looking relatively strong. Our higher time frame target was all the way up here at $1.50, right? $1.50. So this is what I'm talking about, long strength, right? Long the coins that are strong and cut the coins that are weak. I'll tell you honestly, one coin that I had that was weak and I cut it ages ago. Let's see if I can find it over here. And it's just done terribly, is this. Energy Web token, right? Terrible. We longed it over here. And we're looking for potential power of 3 play. What is a power of 3 play? There you go. Long-term consolidation. You go into manipulation phase. That's where we longed on the yellow dot over here at $1.80. Breaks back into the range, and then you're looking for expansion. Now, could this still take place? Of course, it could still take place, but it hasn't yet. And there's also in trading, even though you're not losing actual dollars, you could be losing opportunity. So you need to cut positions if you're losing opportunity. I had to move that capital into something else that was able to make me money quicker. And it just is what it is. Even if EWT does do something like this, Energy Web token, and there's some narrative around carbon credits or something like that, an energy sector narrative that pops up, I'll quickly jump back onto the bandwagon. In the meantime, the profits that I've made off the capital that was allocated over here pretty much puts me in the same place as if EWT were trading up here. So it's fine. If it does move up here and the narrative starts to come into play, I'll just jump back in and that's cool. We can go long. So understand that when it comes to your trading. Okay, we'll take a few more. I also want to go into some of the more degen trades over here. We'll look at GUMMY as well in a moment. Before we get into that, I do want to let you know as well with CHAPZ, you still have an opportunity, guys, over here where you can earn for free. Basically, all you have to do is go and interact with their platform, chat and earn, engage with their platform. It's an engagement platform, right? Go have a look. There's a link in the description below. You can chat and earn if you know anything about the projects that they've listed over there, and you can give positive social engagement. They'll reward you for doing that. If you want, you can also buy the CHAPZ token, stake it, and you can earn. There's a staking platform over here. Here is the APYs that they're offering right now. The link is in the description below. It's basically a social fi play. By socializing and participating on their platform, you earn money. Cool. Let's look at GUMMY. So here's GUMMY. It was downtrending. I've identified this as a more relevant range that's playing out at the moment. So I'll be viewing this as the range low going forward in the next couple of days to weeks. 0.093 mid-range over here, which we're currently losing at 14 cents. Range high at exactly 20 cents. So you want to buy support and sell resistance, right? Unless you want to be a holder. If you want to be a holder, then accumulate at those range lows. Okay, accumulate at the range lows. What are some of the other ones I wanted to look at over here? Pepe coin. This is different to 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢, the traditional 𝗕𝗬𝗢 that most of you know on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. This is 𝗕𝗬𝗢 Coin, which has a market cap of 533 million. I think this is one of the bullish plays for the cycle, but of course you want to get in at the right time. Where is the right time? Well, I'm looking for demand to kick in over here in this fair value gap, which is yet to be tested. I want to see price come deeper into the zone. The closer you can get this to $3 mark, the better. Okay, that's 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢 Coin. Linking up with 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢 Coin, you have Based AI, which is at 176 million. I'm also looking for a longer term position on Based AI, and this is going to be your major support. Similar to 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢 Coin, the closer you can get this to $3, watch as it comes into the $4 region. It might already find support. It's currently trading at $4.90. As it comes into 3, look for a little bit of an accumulation zone to form. I'll update you accordingly, but we're looking for something like that, and that's where we're going to start to establish a long position in Based AI. Okay, what other ones do we have over here? How's 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢𝗢 doing? Let's look at 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢𝗢. I haven't looked at 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢𝗢 for some time. Okay, range low. There's 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢𝗢's range low. There's range high. Very, very simple. Support and resistance on the top side. It will take time to break out of this. Very healthy. It's very, very healthy if you can see it consolidate between these two levels. So between 4 cents and on the top side about 10 cents. 4 cents to 10 cents. Pretty substantial range, about a 60% range. Chris is asking, does the Bybit airdrop require KYC? You would have to KYC on Bybit, yes. Make sure you use the NordVPN, but you would have to KYC. Okay, what else? Checking out the chat section over here. Let me know in the chats, guys, if there's anything else that you want to look at. Okay, quickly spam the chats, get the chat flowing over there. Let's see, I'll take a couple more. Okay, VELO. Let's look at VELO. I don't know if I've ever looked at VELO, but let's look at VELO. I see that's one of the requests. Okay, I'm looking on KuCoin. I hope that's fine. VELO and KuCoin. I mean, it's had a pretty substantial move very recently, but this has got a lot of underwater people. So, I mean, I'm very scared to personally long coins like this. I must be honest with you, because, I mean, think of it. If these guys even reclaim half of their money, they would be down 97%. This is an example, guys, of what I'm talking about. So you need to get up 2,560%. It just means that there's so much selling pressure over here of people that would want to get out of the position. But I guess that's not the question. What you're asking is about VELO right now. Let's pretend there wasn't any of that history. Then what do I think of VELO? Well, it's in an uptrend, right? High highs, high lows. Yes, in the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks even, it's been creating high highs and high lows. It's still, in that regard, pretty bullish. This would be a strong area of support. If you start to break below 0.014, then it probably starts to shift back down. Okay, I said let's have a look at some of the big memes. So let's quickly do that. Just a very quick overview over here. Okay, I'm just going to look if there's anything decent. Doge coming all the way back down. It's probably going to hit 11 cents. Floki, complacency bounce coming back down. It's going to load up. Okay, Foxy, still range bound coming into that zone over there. GROK. All of these coins are range bound. Marga. 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢 could be a complacency bounce. Be careful on those. Okay, SHIB, lower lows, lower highs. That one's not looking good. Walsh coming into key support over here. This level must hold. If it doesn't hold, it's going to go into full-on distribution. You have WEN also coming into major support. WIF. Let's see WIF, which just got the Bybit listing, I believe. Bybit listings are often sell the news events for coins that have been around for a long time with a lot of hype. I don't think it will necessarily be the case on GUMMY because it just launched. But for things that have been around for long, just be careful of this. This is your range low for WIF at $2.20. Okay, that's it. What else? What else do we have? Okay, guys, sign up to Whale School. Sign up to Whale School. I think that's about it. Let's leave it over there. I'll see all of you guys on the next one. I hope you all have an absolutely stellar day. For the rest of you, I'll see you on a Discord live session this evening. Cheers for now.